Dance Arts of Columbia provides fitness fun for everyone from 3 years old to adults. Dance Arts is a good environment where the friendly staff makes you feel comfortable. Dance Arts feels that dance is an art form that you can experience firsthand by learning tap, jazz, modern, musical theater, lyrical, and ballet. Dance Arts urges you to enjoy a sense of accomplishment while getting fit and having fun. For class information, call 875-1569. Dance Arts of Columbia, serving Columbia since 1979.
Good morning and welcome to Radio Friends on Monday, August the 11th. We got Dave Mars with us from the city of Columbia. Good to have you here, Dave. Happy summer to you.
Yeah.
We're talking about air conditioning, cooling our house, saving money, and the most important thing we can do with that air conditioner is change the filter.
Let's get this our star out here first.
He's got if you go to kbia.org, click on Radio Friends, watch this segment. He has one filthy filter here. Now, this is you don't want to take your filter out and have it look like this. It's as clogged up. It's got dirt and dust and it's got a little bit of everything in there.
And Paul, what's the effect will be is it'll lower the airflow through the system and raise your bills that way. Puts more strain on the motor and the fan motor. Plus, if you get enough of a load up on this, you might actually ice your coil up in your air conditioning system.
Okay, so if the filter is so clogged up that not enough air can go through, the
coil
could freeze up because you've got the humidity in there. And
you got humidity in there, and you're trying to get as much of BTUs out of the air conditioning system as possible. And if you don't, it just gets colder and colder and colder. The humidity starts to freeze. You get a big block of ice in there. So if you've ever seen any water underneath your furnace, it can be due to two things. Could be that you got a big ice block in there that's blocking some air. You'll notice that at supply, you might not feel a lot of air coming out.
Right.
Or you may have one of those drains, there.
And it could be clogged up.
It could be clogged up with algae, yeah.
Okay. And the other thing, on the outside of the house, you've taught me this over the past 25 or 30 years, the outside of the house, you want to keep that unit clear of any debris, any limbs, any leaves. Just get a hose and hose off the coils.
If you can, and if it's been a while and you can't really, those coils are pretty deep. They're about 2 or 3 inches deep, so you're not necessarily can you see through them very well. So you may want to hire a professional to come and take the top off, blow it from inside out to make sure that's clean. Then what you've said, taking care of the outside is be handy for the years after that. But I ran into an air conditioner outside unit where they had a very large dog. And urea will destroy the fins on the air conditioner.
The dog was relieving itself on the fins of the air conditioning?
Yeah, and just melts that metal.
So that was the end of the air conditioning?
Pretty much fell the end of it, yeah.
Okay.
So if you got that, you got to put a fence around it or something with a lot of airflow, but to keep the animals away from there, yeah.
Okay, all right. What else can we do as far as the fish?
You got other filters too. You can mention. If you might be running a dehumidifier this summer, which sometimes is essential equipment. You don't want to get the basement so ice cold that it's humid. There's a filter in those too. Yeah,
but if you've got the air conditioner going, isn't it dehumidifying?
Yeah, it depends. If you have a good air change in, let's say the lower level, say you had a basement, something like that, too often they may be just raw basements, unfinished basements, and so they may not have the return system to pull that air in, and so they may not be dehumidifying as well downstairs. Plus, you might get the basement at 55 degrees before you dehumidify it with an air conditioner, so you can spot dehumidify with a standalone unit, but they do have their own filters, and I have let mine get full too, and it'll sometimes have a little sensor, like you're saying. Your thermostat has a sensor on it.
It tells you when to change the filter.
When to change the filter, and some dehumidifiers have that too.
Okay, when you talk about the heat in the summertime, that's the biggest charge on our electric. That's the biggest reason for a high electric bill is the air conditioning. How much can you save on your utility bill by bringing the thermostat up a degree or two?
Well, the common rule of thumb of that is 5% per degree you can save on your air conditioning.
So if you keep your thermostat set at 70 and you bring it up to 72, you're going to save 10% on your electric bill.
On your cooling cost.
On your cooling cost.
Yeah, which should be anything. You have a base load, which is like what your appliances use, your refrigerator, lights, etc. Anything above that in the summertime would be your cooling load, and you'll save 5% on that. load by just, and thermostats can get off, be inaccurate. You might think that your thermometer says, oh, I got a 78 in here. That's really efficient, but it may actually be 75 degrees.
So you need to check your thermostat.
Yeah, get it on the thermometer.
The other thing you keep, and Boone Electric has it, and I think the City of Columbia has it, where you can sign up for the load management.
Correct.
And you get a decrease on your
That's right. You get
electric bill.
3% discount on your June through September electrical usage. And that's on the whole usage, not just your air conditioning load.
Yeah. Now, what Boone Electric has, and that's what I'm on, is you sign up for the peak alert, and whenever you're in a peak alert, they cycle the unit off 20 minutes.
An hour.
Yeah, 20 minutes every hour.
Yeah.
And you really don't notice it.
No.
You really can't notice it. The compressor will go off, but the fan will keep running. Yeah. So you're circulating the air, and then you end up saving money on your electric bill.
Well, and what you said earlier, too, is that, if you've got a lower level and upper level, and you can run, and you have proper ductwork that's going to have friendly returns as well as supplies, you can run that furnace fan in an on position. And de-stratify your temperatures from floor to floor, because too often the cold air is heavy, falls in the lower level, and your warm air rises and goes up. So if you can run that fan and mix that up, you'll get a lot more out of the latent cooling of your whole operation.
Okay, we're almost out of time, but let's say you have a very large house, and you've got central air conditioning, and you're running that central air conditioning. Would it add to the efficiency if you put a little window unit in somewhere and turn the thermostat way up in the central air conditioning and just cooled with a window air conditioner in one room?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because you're spot cooling. You're not cooling the entire structure, you're only cooling one room. And very often, the way the ductwork in a lot of homes is laid out, it's not sufficient to pull that heat out of the upstairs. The return vents are just open grills, and it pulls air in and mixes it. Yeah, test these at home by taking a piece of newspaper or typing paper, put it up to that grill when the air conditioner is running. If it holds that paper to the grill, you've got some return air, and you might not need that window air conditioner. But if you don't, and you can't pull that hot air out of that room, you may need to add a window air conditioner.
So there is a time that it's more efficient to run a window air conditioner than the central air conditioner.
Central, yeah.
But then doesn't it? I've always read that, well, if you turn your air conditioner off, the walls and the floor and the furniture all get warm, and when you turn it back on again, it has to cool everything down, so it's going to run longer to cool everything down again.
The rule of thumb is try to stick it to one temperature so that you get the dehumidification. You're right. The wintertime, the humidity helps you heat the place, but in the summertime, it works against you.
People want more information, you can call Dave at the City of Columbia, or you can go online, www.GoColumbiaMo.com.
That's right.
Or check with your local utility wherever you are. Dave Morris, thank you so much for coming by. I enjoyed talking to you. Okay. Tomorrow, access to healthy food, and we'll talk about lung cancer screening. Our program directed by Travis McMillen, Reynolds Journalism Institute. Audio is Pat Akers from KBIA. Our floor director is Daniel Shapiro, and our assistant producer and guest coordinator, Uncle James Mauser. And if you would like to hear this program again or watch it, you can sign up for a free podcast or a podcast. Go to kbia.org and send me an email. I'd love to hear from you. pepperp@missouri.edu. Bye-bye.